friends, it's Amanda Mae with Ardith Design. Welcome back to my channel where we celebrate all things counted cross stitch and sustainable stitching. As many of you know, I'd love to be a connecting thread that helps to connect historic needlework to contemporary needle art. Today is a special episode as I want to focus on my Save the Stitches finds, and I want to show you some of the kind of restoration and rehabilitation of some pieces of counted cross stitch and other needlework that I've come across in my travels here in the Mid-Atlantic region of the United States. Many of the pieces that I have collected, acquired, curated are pieces that would have otherwise been thrown away, and I have collected for the last, I would say, 5 years, and I've done some cleaning, and I'm gonna link below some resources on conservation and articles on cleaning historic textiles and things you don't do to clean historic textiles, and a couple links to museums about, you know, museum quality pieces, stuff that you do not want to clean. I want to preface by saying that I am not a museum curator. I don't have any formal training. So please, if you have any questions regarding a piece of needle art or needlework that you have, please defer to a museum in your area, or again, see the links below if you have a particular question. The pieces that I have cleaned are all from either the 1970s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. I cleaned them following videos and techniques that I've seen on YouTube because, let's face it, YouTube teaches a lot of us how to adult, how to do things, and also from other needle shop owners and people on how to clean. Again, I am not an expert, and if this helps someone in some small way, awesome. I don't want anyone to accidentally ruin a 19th century, early 20th century, or earlier piece of needlework. Again, I took a risk on cleaning some of these items, and I want to kind of show you what happened. And so we're gonna have a Save the Stitches finish parade. And by finish parade, I mean that these pieces they've been stitched and they were either framed or folded to be framed or finished, and I acquired them. I purchased all of the pieces I'm going to show you. Some of them were going to be thrown away, and the owners or the volunteers at the thrift stores or the op shops, they wouldn't take my money because the pieces were dirty, so I made a donation. Always, always, always make a donation if you're taking an item that a thrift store or community store are not putting out on the floor. You can make an anonymous donation or make a donation right there to the manager, the lead volunteer, the lead employee. It's just good manners. I want to show you all of these pieces, and I also want to say that there's no judgment. I am a judgment-free zone. If you've thrown away pieces in the past, that's cool. It happens. If there's a lot of reasons why stuff gets thrown away. Right now, it is mid-January of 2019, and thrift stores are getting inundated here in the United States with donations for people going through the organizing process. Usually every January is a new beginning, cleaning out the closets. People start rearranging and start organizing. Well, the popular streaming service Netflix took advantage of the season of organizing and new beginnings when they released their new Marie Kondo's The Joy of Tidying Up, her documentary series that she executive produced. Well, with her coming out with saying, you know, sparking joy, get rid of things that don't bring you joy, thrift stores are being inundated, charity shops, consignment shops, antique stores are being inundated with donations, people just purging their stuff. Well, with that purge comes stuff getting thrown away and donations no longer being accepted. And in the local area that I'm in Maryland, many of the small charity shops are actually like refusing to accept donations. So what does that mean? That means in inclement weather, if it rains outside, it snowed, we had freezing rain this past weekend, that means that a lot of people who have made the time to go and donate things, they don't have the time to go to another shop to donate. So it's called dumping it, like a dump and dash. They'll leave their things in the parking lot by the sheds or whatever, or by dumpsters and then leave. Well, inclement weather happens. It rains, it snows. If items are wet or soiled, shops cannot take them. They automatically get thrown away, which means that even that nice, you know, really nice hundreds of dollars worth of clothing or home goods or antique samplers, they get thrown away. So that's all of my preface to say that this is an interesting time. I felt like this was a timely video to do this. If you see a piece of needlework or needle art that needs rescuing or needs a little love, you know, don't be afraid. I'm not sitting here telling you to hoard things, but you can give your needlework new life. And all the pieces that I'm about to show you are cotton. They were either linen or cotton Aida fabric and cotton threads, which means I am not showing you anything that had wool or alpaca or any animal fibers, meaning there's no silks in here that I've cleaned. This is all cotton based. I took a risk that the colors were not, I took a risk that the threads were color fast, meaning that they wouldn't bleed. But every piece that I cleaned it with the assumption that there would be color bleeding. I used regular blue Dawn dish detergent and tepid water that was neither hot nor cold, a clean base, a clean bowl, and I submerged the piece, picked it up. Do not crinkle, do not scrub, in and out of the water. I used my fingers gently to massage. I'm pulling a piece right here to show you. Pulled a piece gently to massage to see, like, getting the rust marks off, but nothing to obstruct the threads. I am going to insert a video. It shows you how I removed some of these from the frames, and I did speed it up so that it might look like I'm like ripping stuff out of the frames. I am not. I just, I didn't want to sit there for 27 minutes, you know, carefully peeling back for you to watch. So I will insert in here some time-lapse video of taking pieces off of sticky board. And with that, let's get started. Close to 9 minutes into the video. Thank you for staying with me, hanging on. Let's get started with the parade of rescued, save the stitches, cross-stitch, counted cross-stitch pieces. And we'll start with this little piece here. This is a welcome Aida sign with the pineapple, which symbolizes welcome. This was mounted on a sticky board, and it had tape and it has some acid burn. The frame here, I carefully removed it. The frame had been backed with tape, and the nails here actually rusted out on the sides of the Aida, the staining, and with the light Dawn dish detergent, I was not able to remove the rust marks. I left it as is on the back. I did not cut any of the stray threads. And the previous owner did cut their Aida in order to fit it so it would stay in the frame. There the stitching is just fine. It's on a 14 count Aida, and this might be great reused and turned into a little pillow for a dough bowl. The next piece is a little kitty cat. Here, kitty kitty. This piece I purchased and it just needed a little love. It was dirty. I washed it and pressed it. And this is the Here Fishy Fishy. This was in a frame, but it doesn't need to be reframed. It can be flat folded or done something cute, small with it. The next piece I have not cleaned, but I found it in my stash, and it is, you know, for Valentine's Day. Here's love left in the hoop with the threads, and I think I need to finish that up. The next piece that I have is from a kit. It was a vintage kit. I am unsure of the year. And this is gonna be in a time-lapse video of me removing this. This one was, oh boy, this one was a hot mess to undo. As you can probably see, this was mounted behind glass. I have not pressed it, but it's got the dirt and the grime from where it had been folded over. And coincidentally enough, it smelled like cigarette smoke. Thank you for not smoking. The finisher stitched down the edging. Oh, and here it is. It says copyright Needles and Hoops, all rights reserved. I want to say it's probably from the 70s. And it's got the thick cross stitching. It looks like with four threads on linen. The next piece was also in a little frame, and I want to make this into a little dough bowl because it's really precious. This is a cherry, and it says kitchens open. This was dirty. This piece was yellow. I genuinely thought this whole piece was yellow Aida and not white Aida. You would be surprised just the amount things get soiled over time, because again, the soil, it attracts dust. Dust attracts more dust and attracts moisture, which in turn attracts mold and more dust. So remember, it gets compounded. Or a slippery slope, you know, it starts just going down. The next piece is the hunting piece that I removed, and I'm going to insert here. Okay, the time-lapse video of removing the hunting piece. Here's the back. I didn't think this piece was dirty. It was dirty. It was very dirty. I want to show you close up here. This was in this frame, and it was mounted on sticky board. Now, the sticky board, I'm going to show you the sticky board. This is what it looks close up, friends. This is what the sticky board did over time. There are thread remnants. A lot of the fibers came off. It took me a good bit of time just to remove this from the sticky board. There's a lot of debate and controversy over whether or not to use sticky board on your finishing. I am not here to tell you what to do. I can only show you what I have seen on the pieces that I have saved. The stitching here appears to be unaffected in the front. This piece was extremely dirty and it had residue on it. With the piece being this kind of brown, I didn't realize how dirty it really was, and I'm really happy that I washed it and I dried it. I have not pressed it. It's fun. I think it would be really fun to turn into a pillow, and I don't know. I don't know really what to do with it. I liked the little shoes had the three-dimensional with the thing. As I had said in a couple of videos, I had seen the frame from far away and really liked the frame. That was the reason I purchased this one. So I selfishly bought it for the frame. It coincidentally had the needlework with it. Again, this is what the sticky board took, a lot of fibers with it. Okay. The next piece I'd like to show you, I'm pretty happy with. This one was in a frame. I think I showed one of my very first Flosstube videos, and it's the Amish laundry on Ada, and it was behind a frame. I saw from the glass, it looked like a mold was setting in, and the piece was behind glass with no spacers. It was just like a basic big box store frame, not a needlework frame. And I saw the moisture that had developed. So I wanted to take this out and clean it and dry it and get it pressed and ready. Thankfully, the main part of it did not get damaged from being behind glass without the spacers. But no matter how much I tried to clean it, it still has some yellow water damage around the frame, where it was in the frame edge here. Here's the back. I got this and I thought it would be fun to mount it in my laundry room on one of the little lingerie washboards that I have. We'll see. I'm happy that it's clean and that it doesn't smell like mildew, so I was really happy about that. The next piece I have is full coverage. And I had shared this a long time ago. I had purchased this at a used bookstore. It was underneath the cash register in a wonky, ugly, dusty, dirty frame. Here, I'm going to insert pictures here. The frame was a hot mess and it was really dirty, and it literally, this piece, it had been taped and it was like bunched down. It had not been stretched, so it was all wonky. And I paid $5 for this at the used bookstore because I just could not leave this piece behind. And I don't know how long it had been at the bookstore. They didn't tell me. A lot of times bookstores buy estates. So the used bookstore, they buy everything in the estate, for like the library room. So they'll get the art along with the books, and so they'll sell the art. There's just some really cool stuff at that bookstore. It's Wonder Books in Frederick, Maryland. I'll link below. They're big time on eBay, and they sell like books by the foot, and I purchased some of my needlework books from them, and they're tremendous bookstore. I'm not endorsed by them. I really like them, and going down the dark used bookstore aisles and you find treasures, I mean, why not? So this barn scene here, it's got the corn in the fields, and let me tell you, this was a joy, an absolute pleasure and joy to clean. The whole time I was cleaning it, I thought of Michelle Rudy, Farm Girl, and her full coverage piece that she did on the Dimensions kit that I believe now Country Stitchers Deb is gonna stitch. People sent her that piece, and it was the farm, and she was saying how She always stitched it when she was at her farm related events, so I think 4-H and her other stuff with her goats. And she said that it smelled like barn, and so she cleaned hers and got it all ready. This one did not smell like barn, but it was gnarly. I washed this one. This one took me close to an hour and a half to clean just this piece, and then to stretch it, dry it, and press it. I did press it. It needs to be pressed again. Here's the back of it. I did not trim off any threads. I am so excited with how vibrant the stitching came out in this. If you look at the video before, this was murky brown. It was not pretty. This again, in and out of the water Dawn dish soap. I changed the water, so over an hour and a half of cleaning this, in and out, in and out. I want to say I changed the water in this small bowl close to 30 times, and the water went from black to clear. And down below, I'm going to have a link to a restoration DeWitt. They restore historic tapestries, and they use the aerosol suction, and they show how they clean with water detergent, and how these tapestries go from the water being black to the water being clear. I don't have aerosol suction, but I do have triple filtered water and the Dawn that I'm using. Anyway, I just love this piece. I don't know what to do with it. I think I might get it ready and do my Priscilla and Chelsea method and finish it up for autumn. I just love it. I love it. I don't know if you can see behind me, but I have my Gathering Honey piece that I purchased from eBay. It was already started, and I got it without the threads, just the piece, with the pattern from the book from the 1987 magazine issue. I had already had the magazine issue in my stash, and I had this on my 2-stitch one day. Here, why don't I just pull it? It is on a frame that I got, surprise, surprise, at the thrift store. And I don't know how to use this frame. It doesn't have anything for me to keep this taut. I would love some feedback on it. This is an unmarked frame. I don't know how to use it. The newbie cross stitcher in me is coming through. I stitch in hand, so I don't know how to use this stuff. But I tried to put it up on the frame. What got me started in my cleaning expedition was I got this piece and I was so excited to start it, but it was covered in cat hair. Covered. And I have a high sensitivity to cat hair, and when I had pulled it out of the bag, I had a really severe reaction. So I put it right back in the bag, and I'd been wanting to start stitching on this for a while, but it needed to be cleaned first. So again, I cleaned it. I'm really happy. I pressed the linen. I got it all ready to go. And then here's the back of it. This is, again, somebody else's stitching, and I want to finish it. And I have this on my goal to finish this year. I know Kindred Stitcher is also on her year of WIPs. She did her WIP parade. She's got this on her list. So I'm really excited. I am concerned, and I would love some feedback. The style, the person stitched different than I stitch. So I don't know if I need to stitch this upside down in order to keep the threads going the same way, like the reverse way of stitching. And I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to stitch it upside down. Is that what you do? I don't know. Again, here, I love it, partially completed. Another way to be a sustainable stitcher. If you wanna stitch a project, you can look on eBay, you can look on online and the D-Stash sites and see if there are patterns that are started that you can maybe finish. And you might be able to pick up the pattern with the floss and the fabric for less than it would cost you to kit it up individually yourself. Again, not the rule, but just an idea. I don't know, I will preface by saying I don't know if this has any flaws or mistakes. I just cleaned it and tried to use that roller mount frame, which I can't figure out. Anywho, let's move on. Oh, I'm really thirsty though. We're gonna move on and we're gonna talk about another full coverage piece I got. And that is the Greg Olson piece that you all so wonderfully identified for me. This piece I purchased, and it was, I paid quite a bit for it, but I recognized the skill and the time and the artistry of this piece. Even though it is not my design aesthetic, I still saw the beauty in it, and I purchased it specifically to clean it, restore it, and to resell it. Full transparency, I am going to sell this piece. I am so proud with how this turned out in the cleaning. Here is the back of it. There are some bits and errors to it. It's not perfect, it's handmade, and that's, I think, what makes it so wonderful. This piece was, it was gnarly. It looked like a painting when I purchased it, and I feel like it looks even more vibrant and more of a painting now than ever. The fuchsia is brighter, everything about it is brighter. This piece took me over 2 hours to clean, but I wasn't standing there the whole time. I actually let it sit in the tepid water and changed out the water several times before I started doing the up and down and rinsing. Just, it was difficult, and with the full coverage, it took a long time to rinse this piece and to get all of the detergent out of the Aida and the fabric and the cloth. This piece, I originally probably wouldn't have cleaned it if I hadn't noticed how wonky the piece was sitting. It was so off-center from the tension being different that I felt that it needed to be cleaned just to adjust the tension. The person stitched this and put it directly into a frame with no stretching, which meant that one side was a good 3/4 of an inch longer than the other. I mean, it was wonky. I cleaned this. Then I took this baking sheet here, one of the industrial baking sheets, and it took me close to 2 hours sitting, and I used my sewing clips, and I pulled it and tightened and pulled and tightened, and I did it while it was wet, and completely stretched it and evened out the tension on the piece. And then I let it set for 2 days drying in order to make it come out straight. Where there is barely any, there's just a little bit of a discrepancy here at the bottom. I think you can see that it doesn't line up, but it took a lot. And I just have to say that I admire all of the framers and artisans that stitch and stretch and finish these full coverage pieces. I am in awe. This was quite a learning experience for me, and I hope that this piece goes to a good home and it's finished beautifully. It is clean. I washed my hands before doing this episode. It is clean, and I'm just so happy that I got to make it even more beautiful than it was when I purchased it. Okay, we're gonna move on to a couple, 2 more pieces, 2 more of my Save the Stitches that I cleaned. And I forgot to grab the sticky board for this one, so please bear with me. I posted this piece on Instagram last year, and I've posted little bits of it in the past, and I'm going to insert a video, no, pictures. I'm going to insert pictures here Okay, so the pictures show all of the staples that got removed and the rust, and that it was mounted on a board, not sticky board, I'm sorry, it was mounted on a board that was not acid free, full acid foam core board. It had been stapled down. The staples had rust. This had received water damage, so the sticky board was actually rippled. And despite the long time cleaning this piece, it is officially acid burned. If you can see here, the line here of yellow, that is acid burn. All along, this whole piece is got this yellow hue to it, and that is the acid burn from not using acid free. I cannot speak to how this piece was stored before it came into my possession. I purchased this piece via donation. I actually donated $1. They would not take more than $1. I tried. They were about to throw this in the dumpster, and I purchased it for $1 donation. They were going to throw it away because it was dirty, and again, there was water damage to the foam core board. It had since dried, but because it had the ripple, they weren't going to put it out in the charity shop floor. So for $1 donation, this is my piece. This is one of the first pieces that I ever rescued. I love the celestial nature of it with the sunflowers, the sun, the kiss in the sun. I just love everything about it, and I think that, and I would love your feedback, my stitchy friends, if I should coffee tea dye this in order to hide the acid burn staining. I don't want to degrade this piece anymore, but I also don't want the full coverage acid. Let me know, comment below what you think I should do. Again, this one of the first pieces that I got, and I really like it. All right, and finally, I have a video I will insert here. This is my today is the tomorrow we worried about yesterday. I made a donation for this piece. They were going to throw it away. The frame was broken when I got it. I made a donation. I don't remember what I paid for this. This was filthy, and it was mounted on sticky board. This is the back of the sticky board, and here is the front. This is what the sticky board looks like. If you can see the fibers. I spent a long time trying to carefully remove this piece from the sticky board. And in the video, the time-lapse video, again, I sped it up considerably. But here is what the sticky board looks like. All of the fibers. And despite my best efforts, fibers got ripped up off this piece, and I feel sick about it. I really do. The last thing I wanted to do was destroy a piece. I did my best, but the sticky board got the better of me, and there are broken stitches now in this piece. There is also staining and acid burn from the sticky board that is not acid free. I think I am going to coffee tea dye this one and make it into a little pillow. That is my plan for this. Today is the tomorrow we worried about yesterday. That, my friends, is my counted cross stitch. Save the stitches. Thank you so much for watching it. I have even more save the stitches. I'm tilting the camera a little bit. I have all of this hanging to show you, and I'm hoping that next week we can continue the saving the stitches and I can show you my other goodies and textiles that I have saved. But this parade has gone on for a while. I gotta leave you wanting more. All right, I want to share 2 library books, 2 of my books from my personal collection, and a pattern release. Should we do pattern release first? I feel like we should do pattern release. Okay, here we go. As many of you know, I absolutely love Valentine's Day. Love it! And I decided to do a reproduction style Valentine pattern. This is a mixed media altered art piece that I did based on an 18th century vellum Valentine housed at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. This is the altered art, which means that the original, and then I added to it through digital art. I turned this 18th century piece into a counted cross stitch pattern, and I'm so excited about it. It is a 14 page PDF that you can get, and I'm going to put the link below, of the vellum Valentine pattern. This is the original Valentine, hand painted on vellum. It's by an anonymous French artist, and it has carnations and roses that signify love and friendship. It's got inside a medieval town. There's a church with a steeple, some very fun trees. There's an aqueduct, a house on a hill, the cool trees. So I converted the Valentine into the pattern here. It has 13 colors, and I charted them all in the variegated colors by DMC. And it's bright. It is a bright, it will be a bright stitch if you decide to stitch it with the colorway that I have chosen for this piece. I created it in 2 styles. I created it with the full, I'm gonna just do a quick, that's the 1-page view of it, where it has the inside motif of the medieval village. And I also did it, there we go, where I did just charted the border and removed the medieval village. And I think it would be so cool to do it and maybe stitch your own letters, your own alphabet, your own message, or insert, like stitch it as a frame, kind of like mixed media, and then put a picture or something inside of it, like the Victorian art. I have the chart on 1 page for just the border and then the full page, the full pattern. And then I have it broken up and the chart so that it's in a bigger form in color for you to see. And I'm really excited about it. I spent a long time on this piece and I love it. I really wanted to translate a historic piece of art into contemporary needle art. And I would just love it if anybody would like to stitch it. If you want to switch out the colorway, if you want more prim colors, or you want to use fancy floss, or you're like, I'm not using variegated, that's cool. I mean, I just love Valentine's Day, and why not turn an 18th century hand painting into cross stitch. So again, here's my new release. And I have another new release, and it's exclusively on Kindle, and it's a full coverage piece, and it's called Love Shines Through, and I'm going to put that below, and let me picture here. And I'm so excited about that, and I just wanted to dip my toe in. I love watching everybody doing their heaven and earth designs, and I decided to translate one of my watercolor paintings into a full coverage piece. It's charted for 227 different DMC colors, and I charted it with thread counts for a 25 count easy mesh, and I just love it, and I'm so excited. Oh, I have the library books to do now, and I've got Natural Color. I checked this book out, Vibrant Plant Dye, and in honor of this book, I dyed some Aida fabric, 18 count peach Aida. I dyed it, as you see, I have not pressed it. I dyed it using blackberries, and it came out pretty cool. And the funny thing is, though, this book doesn't tell me how to dye with blackberries. Everything else. Of course, I chose the one project that I didn't have in the book, but this is a lovely book, and I have been reading a lot, and I want to learn how to dye with plant-based stuff. Learn all the things, make all the things. And in that vein, I also have the Make and Mend book. And this is going to inspire me with some of these projects over here that need to be mended or maybe made into something new. Again, Make and Mend. It is the Shakiko inspired embroidery projects to customize and repair textiles and decorate your home. And it's got the very awesome, the contemplative slow stitching method that y'all know I started. And then books from my own collection, because I love books. I have and it's even got coffee marks on it. Oopsie, it really is a coffee table book. My Norwegian folk art book. Wonderful, gorgeous, beautiful inspiration here. Just the artistry is just, oh, I love it. And then I have Elizabeth Bradley's Decorative Victorian Needlework book. Now, Elizabeth Bradley has her own website. She's still selling kits. She's based in the UK. And wow, I was blown away by her stuff. She's got over 40 patterns in this book. There's a parrot that I want to do. I mean, like all these really beautiful things. She's got flowers, like, you know, make all the things. Now, they're charted for wool, but like, look at this. The parrot and the squirrel, and I'm like, oh, it's gorgeous. I purchased this book because of Toby the pug right here. You all know I feel that you gotta put a pug on it, right? Toby the pug. I purchased this book. Well, Toby the pug is not in this book. It's available for 130 pounds as a kit. Anyway, I found one of my unicorn charts is Elizabeth Bradley's Toby the pug. And with that, I want to say thank you all so much for tuning in this week. Happy January. I hope that if you are in the United States on the East Coast, that you are surviving this Arctic blast. If you are down in Australia, I hope that you are surviving the heat wave that I heard you all are having. I send my good thoughts to all of you. I hope you have a beautiful week stitching. Comment below if you have any questions for me. Again, I'm gonna have a list of resources and articles down below. Thank you for staying with me for my Save the Stitches parade, and I'll see you next week. Take care.